let me tell you how my morning's going. So yesterday, I tried to take the oil filter in my truck really fast. So I got a subject to talk about today. And I made a hole. Listen, I blew it. I blew it yesterday. I tried to do an oil change, and I made a hole in the cap. And I warmed up my truck this morning, and was shooting just oil all over the driveway at the house. I made a total mess of my driveway at my house. It's embarrassing. I mean, it looks so bad. It looks really bad at home. Anyway, regardless, I have a black driveway at home. That's how it looks. So, anyway, right now I'm driving my wife's car. I'm on my wife's Mustang right now, and I'm going to pick up a part at a AutoZone because O'Reilly's didn't have it, and I drove the truck with no oil, my van. I just made a mess. Listen, regardless, I want to talk about something. I got a phone call while I was at O'Reilly's with oil all over my hands and in my face. I had oil all over me, and I got a phone call from a junk removal service. Now he said, Ricardo, I know you're going to do a video about this. Don't mention my name, so we're just going to call him Pedro. So Pedro calls me this morning, and he says, hey, I'm selling my truck and I'm selling my trailer, my dump trailer. I wanted to know if you're interested in any of them. I said, what kind of, I'm not interested in your dump trailer. I said, what kind of truck do you have? Anyway, he's trying to sell it for way too high. I said, I don't buy trucks that are that expensive anyway. Regardless, I don't buy them. And he goes, I said, check with somebody else. He goes, well, I thought maybe you know somebody. That's why I'm asking you, Ricardo. You know everybody? I'm like, no, dude, I in this thing, I don't. I said, why are you leaving? He goes, I'm going back to Mexico. I said, oh, he said, I've been working here with the work visa, and the work visa expired almost a year ago. I said, I'm leaving. And I was like, what? I said, bro, you're not going to believe this. Last night, I was talking about immigration status and how immigration, if it's affecting any junk removal businesses in the area and what it's going to cause to the industry. I told him this. I said, listen, do you have a website? He said, no. I said, do you have a Google My Business? He said, yes, I have a Google My Business. And I said, well, I'd like to buy it from you if you're leaving. He said, well, hopefully I can come back and it just stays active. And I'm like, dude, I don't think it works like that. So he wants to keep his Google My Business. And I'm thinking, why are you going to keep your Google My Business to him? So I was willing to buy his Google My Business and just change the number inside of it and then have it forwarded to me. That was it. I don't care about the name or the brand. I don't really care. He can call himself Pedro's Junk Removal all he wants, whatever he wants. The point was that I wanted to take any kind of business in his area, you know? And here's the cool thing about it. He's in the Grand Prairie area, and that's a little area, a little nook in the DFW area that I don't really advertise to. So again, this morning, I have an unspecified junk removal service that called me. His name is, we're saying, Pedro's Junk Removal. He called me. He's from Grand Prairie, Texas, and he's closing up shop. He's actually leaving on his own reconnaissance, at his own will. He's leaving at his own will because he's afraid that they're going to deport him and he'll stay at a detainee center or anything like that. And him and his wife are leaving this Friday back to Mexico. He's like leaving. So he's got 2 kids, 2 girls. So it's him, his wife, and 2 girls. And he said he's not going to do junk removal anymore. And he's quitting the business. And I was like, I asked him, well, how many jobs do you average a week? And he said about 3 or 4. He said last week he did like 8 jobs. And I was like, well, that's a little business. I mean, that's a little side, you know what I mean? Little thing that he's doing there. I said, that's not bad. But I told him, I said, you know, if anything, I don't want your truck or your trailer, brother. I'd like to buy your Google My Business account. See, guys, it's very important that you know that some of these competitors that are in your area are getting deported right now. I do not know if ICE or immigration is deporting anybody necessarily in our area. But this guy's from, this guy is from the Grand Prairie area, and he's getting deported by himself. He's not, ICE has not reached out to him. Immigration has not reached out to him. But he's doing it at his own will, and I'm going to tell you why. He's afraid that he'll get pulled over, and they're going to deport him and keep him at a detainee center for a while, and he won't be able to see his family, so he's doing it at his own will. Yeah, he's leaving at his own will. I will tell you, he said he mentioned to me that his cousin came over this past year with all the Biden stuff. You know, when Biden was leaving post, he said his cousin has decided to stay. So his Biden, who came over the border under the Biden administration when they were letting anybody in, he came over. And I asked him, so is he leaving with you? He goes, no. So Pedro just told me on the phone about maybe 35 minutes ago that his cousin came over illegally, legally at the time with Biden administration, over the border, and now he's decided to stay. So he's not afraid of getting deported, I guess. So, but another thing, I did ask him, I said, is your cousin, does he have a family? Have kids? He says, no, he's single. He's only 24. And I'm like, oh. Now, the guy I'm talking about is Pedro. Pedro owns a junk removal service out of Grand Prairie, Texas, and is afraid to get deported. He said he was on a work visa in the area, and his work visa expired about a year ago. So that's another thing right there. So that's why he's afraid that he's going to get deported and he won't get to see his 2 baby girls and stuff like that. So kind of felt bad for him. You know, one thing I will tell you is that people come over the border here. They come over the border illegally to earn the living, to make money, to earn a living, to provide for their families. And legally or not legally, it is something that is commended for. It's something that you should really not bash these people for. But they're coming over here. If they're bringing any economic value to the economy, I don't know. I mean, if the money's rotating in banks and in pockets, I guess it is, right? Listen to this. If Pedro goes to Walmart and spends money, or goes to the grocery store, or goes and puts money in the fuel, he's rotating money. He's moving the economy, okay? So happen to say that he probably is doing that, right? He's probably doing that. So he does bring value to the economy. Now, if he's over here illegally, then you have to go back. And I'm going to tell you why. Right now I'm on the highway. If I'm speeding right now and I'm doing right now I'm doing 80 miles per hour, but I'm doing 140 miles per hour, I'm speeding illegally. And if I get a ticket, I cannot turn around to the office and say, hey, bro, what am I doing wrong? Hey, what am I doing? Broke the law, bro. Breaking the law. Let's specifically try to make this a little better. Okay. All right, let's think about this. Somebody that's Mexican here illegally, okay, and goes to a park and starts a fight. And he goes to the park and unintentionally he gets an argument with another gentleman, and he goes to a park and he gets in a fight. First of all, there's 2 things that's wrong. First of all, he's getting in a fight with somebody. That's illegal. Fighting at a park, at a public park with kids. And the second is that park, that he's illegally there. He's illegal. He's fighting an American citizen on 449B. Okay, so he's going to get deported probably because he started, a fight. Let's turn this back around to an American citizen. Is it fair that an American citizen that has paperwork and everything, been here forever, a Texan, born and raised here in Texas, brings a pit bull, a big ol' ass pit bull, to a public park, and that park bites a little girl? Okay? That little girl limps off, tells her mom, they call the cops. Is that illegal? Or is that legal? That's 100% illegal. And they put that dog to sleep. Okay? They're going to put him to sleep. I'm going to tell you why. You cannot bring a pit bull to a public park. You just cannot. Where there's kids around and this pit bull's not trained and he's loose without a leash, you just can't do that, bro. It's illegal. Illegal. Okay? The same way that this Mexican guy shows up to the park, it's illegal what he's doing, and then he gets in a fight. So I'm trying to kind of mix it up, make any sense for anybody on this channel right now. But that is illegal, guys. So both ways, any way you look at it, but what both people did, the American citizen or the illegal immigrant, it's illegal. Okay? So once you break the law, or you are breaking the law, or about to break the law, or I mean, there's consequences to it. If I hit somebody right now and then I take off, that's a hit and run. That's illegal. There's no defense on that. You know what I mean? There's just no defense on it. So these immigrants that are here illegally should get deported. They should go back home. I'm not into this stuff, but I just believe, you know, or I could just take my pit bull to a park. Fuck it. They think that's okay. I'll just take my dog to a fucking park. Okay, I don't even own a pit bull. To be honest, I don't even like dogs. So to be honest with you. So, you know, I'm trying to make sense of this whole situation. But my friend got deported. And he told me, he said, Ricardo, you want to buy my truck or trailer? I asked him what year his truck is. So Pedro's junk removal out of Grand Prairie, Texas. We're just using the name Pedro, by the way. He is quitting junk removal, and this Friday he's driving back to Mexico with him and his wife and 2 kids, and he wants to get rid of his truck and trailer, or he's going to give it to cousin. And his cousin, who's here illegally, also is going to use it. They bring no value to the table, and it's weird. It's just sad that my friend, he's a friend of mine, I've worked with him once or twice, is here illegally. So I have another friend who's been working with another junk removal company, and he's been here illegally. Oh, I didn't think about that. Ooh, he's been here for a while. Anyway, guys, we'll talk to you later. I'm here to get the part. And you have a great day. Thanks.